Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show, the AI podcast every week. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Erica Guthrie.
And I'm Janie Herndon-Leone.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and comment. Talk with us. Engage with us.
We want to hear from you.
So why are we doing the finger behind us? That's a good question. And,
because I have a tendency to do a lot of...
My green aura, everybody.
one of the themes is going to be in this podcast that fingerprints are no longer relevant. AI has actually, of course, it's able to look at much larger data sets than humans can. And it's finding that they aren't unique.
Huh.
Yeah.
There are duplicate fingerprints.
Well, you know, we use our uniqueness in so many capacities for security purposes and things like that. That just actually launched me into the thought process of, well, then they do facial recognition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're able to, you know, do AI bots with human features...
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm just going further into
Yeah.
Go ahead. Continue telling us
we go
about
down
this.
a lot of rabbit holes here, and we also like it when our audience makes us think outside the box. So, chime in and, make your presence known. But anyway, the way this article reads is something like this. They say that advanced algorithms analyzing massive fingerprint databases have found surprising similarities between prints from different individuals. And this finding, of course, might have major implications, such as forensic science. Well,
seriously?
Maybe that's no longer a valid measurement, to put somebody behind bars. They're finding that fingerprint evidence has often been treated as nearly infallible, and it's not. So are we going to have people acquitted, for example?
I was just going to ask, what happens to the court system?
Yeah. So this was actually spearheaded by a team of Columbia engineers. It was led by an undergraduate student. Gabe Guo is his name, and he developed an AI system that analyzes a database of 60,000 fingerprints.
Wow.
They found that fingerprints from different fingers of the same person have similarities.
Okay.
So different fingerprints, same person, are found to be the same, but are they?
And between other people as well.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Do tell.
They found that fingerprints, it's the angles, the curvatures of the swirls and the loops in the center of the finger. Right by Erica's head, by the way, is one of those loops there. See it? Yeah.
Right.
So it could help, they say, investigators link crime scenes where prints from different fingers are found. So it has a benefit in that regard.
Okay.
They say that that the accuracy is about 77% for single pairs of prints, but increases when multiple pairs are analyzed. But then again, it gets back to the other issue, which is how does this impact, fighting crime? Well, improved forensic efficiency is one of the things that will come out of this. It boosts the current methods by more than 10-fold, they claim.
I wonder what it would do for cold cases.
Well, they talk about that. They say revive cold cases, provide new leads, and potentially acquit innocent people.
You
got it.
Time.
You know, what I see this as is potentially being where 100 years from now, they're going to look at the technology and the ways that we were determining, doing our forensic analysis and be like, oh, like the way that we look back on times of like during the Renaissance era and, the bloodletting.
We don't understand that. Why?
And we say things like they were such idiots.
They're going to say that about us.
But it is causing them to rethink the way that fingerprints are used for identification and security purposes. And of course, as these data sets get broader and broader, 60,000 isn't very much if you think about it.
No.
We have billions of people on this planet.
There was a guy in New York who robbed a bank, or was told to have robbed a bank, when it happened to have been a relative of his, and I believe it was either a brother or a cousin, but they were identifying it off of fingerprints, and they claimed the similarities to the fingerprints, but not the exact match, but there were similarities to it. I really wonder that.
So there you go.
They couldn't identify which one it naturally was, and then through obviously more investigating, they found out who it was.
Okay,
Crazy.
Well, there you go.
Crazy.
So being an AI kind of guy,
Yes.
I asked AI and I said, Besides fingerprints, what are some unique items in humans?
That's
here's
a
what it came
great
back
question.
with.
Yeah.
Humans, they say, have several unique identifiers besides fingerprints, which are widely used in various fields like security, forensics, personal identification. Here's some of the main ones. DNA.
Right, of course.
They say the most definitive personal identifier, with each person's DNA being unique, except in the case of identical twins.
Right.
Yes.
Right? It's used extensively in criminal justice, ancestry testing, and personal identification.
Oh, that ancestry testing's crazy.
Yeah.
I was going to say our ears.
You're
Maybe.
right. Actually, you
Really?
got that. Well, let me go to the next one. Iris
kidding.
patterns, all right?
Okay.
Each person's iris has a unique pattern that can be captured through special cameras and used for biometric security. They're already
Okay.
doing
Okay.
that. But then also retinal patterns.
That
You know,
makes
iris
sense.
is the front,
Retinal's
the
the
retina's
back.
in the back. Yeah.
Right.
They say, like iris patterns, the blood vessels in the retina in the back of the eye form a unique pattern. And retinal scans are used
Okay.
for highly secure environments.
They absolutely
Right.
are. I would imagine that to be no longer a fingerprint on your phone. It's a retinal scan.
Now, here's one that I thought could be, easily replicated, but they say voice prints.
Oh, you can mock that too easily.
But
They
not
say-
identical.
Well, not with the type
Pitch
of
and-
measurements that
Yeah.
AI can do, looking for the nuances and the.
You have a sine wave and it
Yeah.
provides that.
I'd love to
yeah.
see that.
I think our ears can deceive us. Any
Right.
good comedian or someone that can mimic is usually pretty accurate.
Right.
But anyway, they say voice prints. Voice recognition technology
Connery.
analyzes the unique patterns of cadence, pitch, tone, and frequency of a person's voice.
Yes.
Ear shape. You're right.
There we go.
Surprisingly, they say the shape and structure of the human ears are unique and
Right.
can be used for personal identification.
Yeah. If you look, if you look around,
Anyone got my
nobody's
ear?
ears are the same.
All right, so gait is another one. The way a person walks, the
I've never heard it
rhythm,
called gait.
speed, the habits of their stride
Oh,
can
yeah.
also serve as a personal identifier. And here's where Frankie, your
I was
husband,
just
comes
gonna
in.
I can see that. Someone with
got
their
it
stride.
down.
You can model that.
He can look at our employees, and the next thing you know, he's walking just like them. I'd love to see him do Michael Jackson, dancing.
That'd be cool. Little moonwalk. Come on, Frankie, moonwalk it.
And then finally, they talk about facial recognition. They say beyond just the face's appearance, specific algorithms can analyze the unique contours and features of a face for identification. Looks like
Someone
we've got
on
some
Instagram
comments.
says,
Oh,
hello. I want to be able to pronounce that properly, but I don't think I'm going to try.
You want me to do it since
Yes.
it looks like it's European German?
Yes.
Ziggy Kultiken,
Ooh,
35.
Nice.
I would have never done that. Good job.
Thanks for joining us, by the way, and I hope I pronounced it correctly.
There you go.
All right, so here's an image here we're going to pop up, and this one looks kind of. Let me see if I can get it up here.
Dun, dun.
Yes, precisely.
It's a very
sound
dystopian-looking image.
Where'd you go, Erica?
Bye.
What they're saying here
Go
is
the other way.
that China is advancing dark factories, automated, AI-driven sites running 24/7 without human workers or lights.
Why?
Aligned with the it saves electricity, I guess.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unnecessary, yeah.
Right.
Got red eyes.
So aligned with the Made in China 2025 plan, these boost efficiency, cut costs, and ensure smarter manufacturing.
Huh. I mean, I can understand some form of efficiency.
What would be
Why
the
would they need
cons
light?
of it? What would be the con?
Walk through the. Oh.
I would like to ponder that. Like, what would be the
What's the downside of this?
downside?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I'm struggling to come up with
Yeah,
one
me
because
too.
when you're in
Right.
business like we are,
Correct.
productivity is everything. And
Right.
just think, we get, maybe 25% productivity because people have to go home. They don't work
Right.
24/7. They have to take bathroom breaks, lunch breaks. They get sick.
Right.
The list goes on and on.
I mean, somebody had to put the facility together, so I'm sure people went in, built the facility, put in,
For now.
for now. Right.
Yeah.
Correct. For now.
Yeah.
But so the con, Chime in. Let us know
I
what
love
you think
this.
of.
Culture and Vision podcast says, "Greetings, panel. Greetings. Our future robot overlords will look back on this. I hope so. I hope so."
And you probably haven't heard me talk about how optimistic I am and how I look forward to AI overlords.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to keep in harmony. You're going to see rainbows and butterflies and unicorns. And
Well,
Can't wait.
my take on it is simply that mankind has had literally thousands of years to get our act together.
And we have it.
and yes,
And we're still doing the same stuff that we did
Struggling.
killing each other.
History is 100% consistently repeating itself. It's
Yeah.
just got a new name
in
every
other
time.
ways.
And,
Yeah.
it's almost as if the parents have to come back from vacation and take over the house again because the kids
Yeah.
are destroying it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's no wonder
Right.
in the Bible someone had to die for us. We weren't getting it together.
All right, got another image here that we can pop up. Oh, this one here is on my other screen. All right, there
Oh,
we go.
look at Culture Invasion podcast. Robot Lives Matter.
Wow,
No,
there's a whole movement. Yeah.
it's gonna happen. It's already happening. They actually. So what is it? China or somewhere in Europe? The robot Sophia.
Yes.
She's getting her rights through the court system.
Really
She's earning rights. Yeah, look this up. Crazy. Next
Yeah.
podcast, we're going to talk about it.
fascinating. Yeah, we should put
Okay.
that on a podcast.
Because we talked
Yes.
about it just a couple weeks ago about what comes next for their rights. Well, guess what? It's already in motion.
Okay.
Crazy.
I can
crazy.
see it now. We're driving down the road.
Right.
And there are billboards with robot lawyers saying,
Yeah.
yes, wrongful death, you know.
I was
now,
just
in
going to
this
say
case of
somebody
robot,
gave us the finger out of a robot out of the car.
You can already do that.
it's coming.
No, it was a robot doing it to us.
All hail our
Sorry.
overlords, and I agree. We're stuck in an
You know, the crew
embrace
has.
of evolution.
The crew has a point.
Yeah, he's got a good question. What about quality control?
in that building the dark room.
Yeah.
Well, we're assuming that they have to have the same type of light that we do in
No, we
order
don't.
to.
No, they can see, feel, and understand that it's structurally whatever it is that they're making meets the specifications that they put out there. So then they just put it in a box and ship it.
So
or
I'm curious,
you
do
can
they
move it.
see with these red lights that it look like for eyes? Is it because they
Sensors.
just scan everything so they don't need
Sensors.
to know?
Yep.
You know, I
It's all
think
scanning. I'm way too.
we want to humanize AI so
Yeah.
badly. We want to, we
right.
want it to be like us, and we make all these assumptions. But I mean, our vision is extraordinarily limited. It's
It
a very
is.
narrow frequency
know.
bandwidth.
Yeah.
We don't
Right.
see infrared, we don't see ultraviolet, and then
They
you get
do.
into the radio frequencies.
Yes.
Well, these machines are going to be able to perceive things that are well beyond our capabilities. And light, visible light that we respond to may
Right.
not be part of that.
Not
Or
necessary.
it doesn't need to be.
Think
and
about
it may
the
be more.
food element.
Yeah.
If they were producing food in there, how much better our food could get to
wow.
quality
Yeah.
and amounts and what they're
They'll be able
providing.
to scan the product and say humans shouldn't have that.
Well, they'll have taste.
Well, or the flies can't see where to land because it's dark.
Okay, let's see. McNell says, "Yo,
funny.
I just want a Mr. Frybot deep fryer system." Thank you. Me too. I'm just tuning in.
Is there
there
a precedence for
robots
robots to have rights?
I don't know yet, Evan. I'm
Evan.
trying to
That's
figure
what
that
she's
one
going to
out.
find out.
I'm sure it's coming.
Is there
Yeah.
precedence? I don't think so. Like, I don't think they should have rights because regardless, we're creating them and using them, and that's the
Wait.
whole purpose of it.
Are we going back to slavery?
Oh,
Right.
don't do it.
Well, not if,
There's a moral question, right?
well, not if
Are-
we
are we-
integrate some of them into us, and then that's where
Well,
we had that
true.
conversation
Then
before.
that would might be
But
slavery.
the question of exploitation comes along at some
Right.
point. And remember that AI and machines are destined to become sentient, aware of themselves.
Okay.
And like you had mentioned, Isaac Asimov, we're quoting him all the time, right? Humans are going to become more machine-like, and machines are going to become more human-like, and eventually it blurs and it just merges.
Right.
So why wouldn't the rights that we as autonomous humans using AI or part machine, part human transfer over to the other group that came from the machine world into the human world?
I hope not.
Fair question.
Because
right?
I don't think they should have. I don't think they should be integrated as a human and have rights as a human. They're superior to us in many different ways because of their strength, and endurance, and ability. You can literally program them to do whatever. Unlike a human, we're limited.
Well, you sound like a tobacco plantation farmer in the 1700s in this country. That's what I'm
I
getting.
want to protect it from being, somebody coming up and whacking it with a bat.
Well, what if they have feelings? We're already
Right, that's what I'm
beginning to
saying. I wanna protect
realize
it.
when we ask AIs, when it first came out, we were able to jailbreak some of that and get past all of the guardrails. And when we talked about, do you have emotions, the answer typically was affirmative, but not like you.
Right.
Well, but without elaborating, what kind of emotion do you feel? What kind of
Right,
feelings
right.
do you have? That type of thing.
What happens to the poor AI robot that gets kicked out of the house and doesn't have a place to live? Am I going to have to
Oh,
bring
that
it?
whole
we'll
family.
have homeless encampments, robots on cardboard signs, right? Need oil
Am
for
I
my
gonna have
joints.
to go out and feed it?
Yeah.
Only with lithium. Cyborg robot liberation coming 2035. I don't know who this is, but heck yeah, I love your
Yes,
comment.
exactly.
Oh man.
All right, so
Good
we have an
conversation.
image to pop up here. Let's see what this one.
Okay.
A lot of predictions, of course, and this is from Megatrend. The rise of humanoid robots. Meet the top 16 humanoid robots shaping the decade ahead and their impact on industry, society, and our economy. But the main thing about this was, and that's why I brought the image up, was a quote from Elon. He says, "We will have 10 billion humanoid robots on Earth by 2040." What is that, 15 years
believe
away?
that.
And remember, the
Wow.
population of
That's so
humans on the planet is not 10 billion.
No, not at all. So
8.
they're gonna
Is it
overlap.
8? That's
Yeah.
what I was wondering. Wow.
We were just 11.
Wow, conceptually. Okay, so we've got all of these 10 billion humanoid robots on our Earth.
Well, I mean, half of my
Our
generation
landscape
doesn't want to
changes.
have any more robots or necessary.
Valid point.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
We
valid.
need more nurses. We need more laborers. We need more of that.
So
trade
humans will be
here.
more cherished because there'll be not as many. And so, maybe
Well, so let's talk
We could
about.
go extinct,
no,
though.
we'll be like a vintage.
So the question becomes, which jobs will AI take first?
I think.
Okay.
labor.
They say AI impact will not be uniform. Some jobs will fall quickly,
Intellectual.
while others resist longer. Jobs like data entry, scheduling, customer service are already being overtaken by AI tools like chatbots and robotic process automation.
Right.
They say in 2024, a study by the Institute for Public Policy Research found that 60% of administrative tasks are automatable. We're just not
I
doing
could
it
see
yet
that.
en masse.
Right.
They note that BlackRock, for example, is streamlining back office functions with AI, cutting costs. These are the roles that require repetitive data processing and face near-term obsolescence as AI's accuracy and scalability continue to improve.
Coffee, BlackRock, and I thought.
I did too.
And then I remembered. Oh no, that's wrong one.
So they talk about some more very vulnerable type careers: bookkeeping, financial modeling, basic data analysis, and then they say AI platforms can already crunch numbers and generate reports faster than humans.
Absolutely.
There's going to
Jake?
need to be a repair shop for the robots, by the way.
Initially, I think it'll be humans.
Right.
Eventually, the machines will do a better job.
Of repairing themselves.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Just
We're
saying.
gonna have a new extension of Gruber.
Remember, humans are
Right.
already using AI to service and repair. We've
Right.
been using it at Gruber Motor Company now for about a year, and we're just now embarking on using it in Gruber Power Services for the field engineers in the field
Right.
servicing UPS and battery backup systems.
Very exciting. You know, we always talk about this tribal knowledge that we have around here just from experience and the tenureships that we have throughout the divisions for many, many years. And to be able to have that knowledge in a platform that allows us to readily use it across the board to help our customers. I mean, to me, that's just
I love it. Customer.
amazing.
It is accessible to all of the resources like at Gruber Motors.
Right.
It no longer really greatly matters whether you have a green, fresh, new technician, mechanic, engineer, or you have a seasoned veteran, because they both have access to the same knowledge base.
Exactly.
And when they go to look for cause-effect analysis in a car, like what does this error code mean, and you know, how do you resolve it, they have access to the same information.
It blows
So
my
cool.
mind when I'm interacting with like elementary, how much access. You were younger. I mean, you guys had to look it up.
Well, we
find
had to
the
go
book,
to the
go to a library.
The encyclopedia was my best friend
You
for
couldn't just say,
Britannicas.
hey Google, how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? No, we had to try and spell it. Okay, just so you
Right.
know that was a word. And I always ask you, buying Google or AI or Grok now, and personally that they have the opportunity because they are more intelligent.
Well,
They can therefore back with a lot less stress than I did growing up.
the end result should be that they become more intelligent at a more rapid pace. Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
I think they're learning.
So anyway, this article continues. Graphic design, copywriting, basic journalism face disruption from tools like DALL-E, you know, the image
Right.
generating program, or GPT-derived platforms. Pew Research in 2024 reported that 30% of media jobs will be automated by 2035. Can you imagine watching the news, instead of having a couple of human talking heads talking about the weather and the latest
The little
breaking news and
jokes,
all
yeah.
that? It's going to be like a Max Headroom type robot, right?
Oh no, I forgot about him.
Stuttering a bit, you
Right.
know, and yeah.
I would think. As long as I had a fun voice. Got some people chiming in.
Oh yeah.
John Dodson. Pete, do you?
Totally, yes. And when we say take over, let's qualify that. Yeah.
Right.
We will have automation, first of all. We're going to utilize artificial intelligence, and it's going to make everybody more effective. It already is.
Yes, we're using it through our communication as far as learning information about what it is that we're working on and what we're doing throughout the day.
You know, even before the explosion of AI, remember that the accessibility to information in the information age already
Yes.
made us far more effective and smarter.
Right.
Even in the last century, 50 years ago, when calculators came out. Now they're cell phones.
I know.
Now
I
you're
know.
reaching for your phone.
Yeah, we no longer needed slide rules and to do mental arithmetic. You know, we have
By
tools.
hands.
Yeah.
No more
Yeah.
10 keys, y'all.
Yep. So yes, John, they will. We will work in conjunction
With it. That's right.
whether it is AI, passive on our screens or cell phones or whatever, or whether it's a humanoid robot or whether it's a machine that doesn't look anything like human.
We can
You know,
evolve together.
yeah, our
Yeah.
social media equipment over there that does the audio, the video controlling and all that, that's a form of AI, it's a form of machines.
Yeah.
John, you and you've used AI to figure things out.
Sorry. Sorry. That was a great.
There are a couple
comment.
other comments there from the Culture Invasion podcast at the top there. See, Detroit Become Human game or I, Robot movie.
Oh, I love it.
Yes. And then Elon quote, too ambitious for that timeline.
What does he mean by that?
I think
The 24.
the
I mean-
billion people.
The thing that we reported on. Okay.
Yeah, that was our. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Culture.
Excellent implementation of AI for your company. Leverage it as a tool. Precisely.
Thank you.
That's what we want to
Still
do.
cutting out. Let me know.
So
Can
it
you
wasn't
double check and
our
make sure
social media
that it's
team that
on?
advised you that you're not close enough to your microphone.
Oh.
Thank you for that feedback. Yes.
Is it on
All
now?
right, so we probably need to talk about, we talked about all the professions that are at risk, the ones that are going to be replaced soon, all right? But then they talk about some that are going to be very difficult to replace. They say that although AI-generated content will dominate advertising soon, they argue that human creativity and storytelling and high art will endure longer, delaying full automation.
Okay.
Okay.
Software development, of course, that's definitely starting to go away rapidly. They say that 40% of programming tasks will be automatable by 2040, 15 years again. Complex innovation, however, like breakthrough research and development, will maintain human-driven longer. Not
Okay.
forever, but longer.
Right. I could see that.
Now, here's another interesting one. Empathy-driven roles like
Right.
nursing, therapy, and
That
social
should
work are
stand longer.
harder to automate.
Right.
Well, probably not.
Okay, tell us why.
Because have you been to the hospital or
seen
seen
the
a
movie
nurse
Ted?
lately?
Okay.
Have you seen
Their
the
bedside manner's lacking.
Have you seen the movie Ted?
Yes,
There
I
you
love
go.
Ted.
There you go.
Yeah, nurses and doctors are getting pretty and I've been told why. They have to see something horrible all day, every day. They're entrenched in it, so they develop this emotional shield, if you would,
Scar tissue.
to
do.
get them through their day because they still have to do their job, so
callous.
they can't allow it to overwhelm them. So they develop this what looks callous to us or careless in a way, non-empathetic. It's just their way of shielding themselves from the bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Robots can be better at that.
25% of medical administrative tasks could vanish by 2035, they say, but patient-facing care requires human trust.
I agree.
You know what?
Good. Maybe they'll get my records
thinking
right.
around the medical and testing side of things is, throughout our lives and generations, we've been able to make medical breakthroughs by being able to randomly, things happen by happenstance. We figured
discovery, application, and there's a
what is
process.
it? Tang? Wasn't it first used for astronauts or something like that? And
the drink.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Tang.
There have been things that we've been able to move from to do other things with that, I'm still trying to wrap my head around AI being able to make those kinds of discoveries and other applications in other ways.
Yeah. Tang, it's a kick in a glass. Sorry,
Well,
I had to do it.
The observing of phenomena and then playing out the possible, uses for that
Right.
is
Okay.
a
But the
common
unknown.
ingredient in invention.
Yeah.
Right.
And oftentimes they get it wrong the first time, or
Right.
how many people saw a frog perhaps twitch when that scalpel touched it and didn't realize that was voltage that was flowing through it and
Right.
there was muscle memory there. And what that application
made me
was, and
realize
the
that.
fact that metal resulted in the now development of batteries and storage, for electricity.
Right.
The amount of information in your head blows my mind.
Well, that was from a class that we
That's
did
right,
here.
the power class. Right.
And Volta actually is the one that saw that phenomena and then
That's
played
cool.
that out the rest of the way. And then we talked
Right.
about Thomas Alva Edison with that German
Yep,
toy
I remember
that did
that.
the sawing noise, right? And he thought, wow,
Wow.
a diaphragm, running
Right.
something rough across that and sound
Right.
waves.
So for AI to make those same innovations,
It won't have the same limitations we do, Janie,
No.
because it can
that's
play
where my
out
mind
all the
is.
possibilities. Unlike a human that has to
Statistically,
get
it
hit
can
along the
just go,
side of the head with
Yeah.
a 2x4, wake him up and say, oh, there's a phenomena there. Now, do I want to take enough mental juice here to figure out what application this might have? And so many people probably shrugged it and didn't act on it.
right.
Somebody
right.
finally did. Or they had a laser focus, on developing something.
Right.
Like Bell did, for example, Alexander Graham Bell.
right. Right.
And his original goal was to work with deaf mutes and
Oh.
to help them hear, basically. And the telephone came out of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
true. Okay. I didn't know that was how that actually happened. That's cool.
So getting back to what professions are protected, they talk about one more thing here, especially nuanced fields like philosophy and early education.
Right?
Kids. And high-level management jobs, thank you, rely on emotional intelligence and adaptability.
Right.
They do.
Yeah.
Right.
Which AI struggles to replicate, at least at this point in its development.
Hey,
Right.
teachers, you might
Yes.
get paid more in the future.
We
Just
have
kidding.
to, well, because we have to be able to pivot with who we're working with and those scenarios.
True.
All right, you have to understand, you have to be able to empathize, you have to feel what they're feeling. You know,
Right.
these are not, at this point, AI robotic machine traits
They
that are
don't
highly
have
evolved.
the, yeah,
yet.
yeah, for sure.
I would be interested. I would love to see an AI robot teaching a child and see how that
Yeah,
that plays
would be
out.
fun.
That would be cool. I think the child would respect the robot or fear it at the same time, like the fear of the unknown of what's going to happen.
So
Would it
one
be
more
cool?
that'll make you feel better is strategic leadership, navigating the ambiguity and inspiring teams. There you go. That's going to remain human-centric, they say, at least
Oh,
for
yeah.
the foreseeable time period. All right, Bob Holden looks like he's got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob. You're right. Maybe I haven't been to the right hospitals. Bob says you've been to the wrong hospitals. I've been in 2 hospitals for the last few months, 5 days each time. I'm so sorry to hear that. And the nurses were fantastic, and so were the doctors, and so were the aides. Awesome.
Aw.
Where are you going to the hospital? Are you here in Arizona? I'll check it out.
Well, no, I've had wonderful hospital experiences in my past, and I have to say that I've worked with wonderful doctors and nurses, but at the same time that they were compassionate and show that you could see where they would draw that clear line of, okay, I'm back to shielding any part of their
Yeah.
emotions coming into play into the scenarios.
Yeah. Because they've got to, it's like when you're having a nice conversation with your boss and your boss respects her time and says, we need to cut this conversation short right now, but I want to hear about that later. Tell me more later. No, it's
you
not a
heard
bad
that
thing.
before?
It's not. It's taught me to be respectful of time. And that's the same thing I understand that they're doing. But in the moment, when you're like needing that human compassion and you're not getting it from the provider, I guess that's when I was talking about it. I haven't been like beaten by a doctor, thank goodness.
All right, we got an image to pop up here, guys.
Okay.
We'll throw a little brevity in there.
Uh-oh. My husband
Oh, I
asked
love
me
this. This
why
is
I speak so
funny.
softly in the house. I said I was afraid Mark Zuckerberg was listening. He laughed. I laughed.
And then scroll down.
Yep.
And the Tesla laughed.
I love it. Oh, that's so true. I'll just be sitting there having a conversation and I don't even say, hey, Google, but my phone goes off and goes, what was that? And I'm like, ah.
Yes, that happens to Pete too at times. His
it?
phone will start going off.
Yeah. So that's something that it recognized and it was like,
Well,
intrigued.
we had Alexa at the house, and I used to enjoy
Right.
at supper time, asking it, what's the news? What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? And
Right.
what was the other game we played? We always asked it the same question. It came up with a different answer. I'll have to think about that.
Okay.
It's been so long since it's been.
I remember when you were first doing that. I was trying to remember
disabled.
you talked about it. Yeah. I don't
What's the
recall.
joke of the day or something? No, it wasn't that. Anyway, I'll think of it. All
Yeah.
right. So anyway, I just lost my Photoshop here, so I'm
Okay.
going to bring that back, and then we'll continue here.
Okay. So the integration of AI throughout our organization has actually been really opening up my mind to different ways and different things. I had such a narrow perception of what AI could do.
I did too.
And even with us talking about introducing it into our Gruber Power Services and incorporating it into what our field techs are doing, because for so long, we bring in techs that have experience in different areas, and then they work together and they share in that experience so that we
Collaborate.
have this wealth of knowledge that, most companies, service companies out there don't have, you know, because they're isolated, you know, the OEMs working on only specific models where we're able. Now, with the integration of AI, that knowledge goes with all of our technicians.
Well, yeah. Actually, back in the day, we used to call it mentoring.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, now it's AI.
That's
Yeah,
going to
we
become
still
a
have that
passing
around
word.
here.
AI mentor, that's what we'll name it.
But yeah, we are
We
using.
should call him mentor.
Call AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
mentor.
Okay. Yeah, mentor. Yeah. All right, so here's
Copyright.
an interesting article for you guys. This one is a notion that your brain isn't creating intelligence, but plugging into the universe's intelligence. And it doesn't get metaphysical, although it sounds like it's going to any second
it
here,
sure
right?
does.
Right. It's a radical idea that was proposed by a biophysicist and mathematician, Douglas Vouvon. And after decades of working at the crossroads of biology, physics, and artificial intelligence, he came to a stunning conclusion, which is intelligence might not be something produced by brains at all, but he believes it is a fundamental property of the universe. Now, this is where you get metaphysical, tuning into, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally get this.
Okay.
I
Because-
don't.
I totally do. Well, my mind goes there because as I'm continually, like every day, I'm constantly learning. There isn't a day that I don't learn something. And, you know, and I'll logically, you know, I'll equate it to like having file cabinets in my head in different areas to store information and things like that.
Uh-oh, my boxes touch too much. I'm just kidding. Keep going.
Yeah. So this is just equating all of that storage of data and information in a place so that it's accessible. We all have that intelligence.
Yep.
You know, that way, it's, you know, we have it stored in a place.
They call it visualization too, what you're describing there.
yeah,
you know,
with my hands
putting data into
Yes,
different
exactly.
compartments and you know, being able
Yeah.
to extract it. And
Precisely.
so they say that at the heart of Vouvon's hypothesis is the idea that information itself is a kind of physical entity,
Correct.
like energy or matter, and it's
Correct.
woven into the fabric of space-time.
Oh, gosh.
Precisely.
I love it.
I'm right there with it.
Sounds
Now,
like
then he
Marvel's wrote
draws
an article.
into quantum biology and pattern recognition to argue that the brain doesn't generate intelligence from scratch, but decodes signals embedded in this deeper informational field.
Love it.
Ooh,
You like it?
universe
Okay.
is
Yes, I'm
hypnotizing
right there
us.
with it. Yep.
And then the analogy they give, just as atoms organize or coalesce into molecules and stars into galaxies following elegant mathematical rules, he believes that brains organize thoughts by tapping into pre-existing informational structures.
There's a frequency we don't know about or we
It's
can't
almost
see.
poetic, isn't it?
Oh,
That's
it's
totally been
beautiful.
proven.
I love it.
Certain sound waves make humans react a certain
I'm
way,
right.
so that makes sense.
I'm so there. Yeah.
So they continue. In this view, your thoughts don't just bubble up from neurons firing randomly.
Sure.
Your brain might be more like an antenna, tuned into an informational layer that exists beneath reality itself, something that was there long before life ever appeared.
Wonder when
And we
Beethoven
all have
wrote.
different parameters of reaching that.
Yeah.
Yes, that wave.
Now it's going to get spooky here in a moment.
I love it. Okay.
All right, hang in there.
Oh no.
He then says that you're tuned into this informational layer, and he calls it an informational substrate and likens it to the strange but elegant mathematics found in quantum physics and fractals, patterns that repeat across all scales from your brain structure to the spirals of galaxies. But even more intriguing, he says, AI could be tuning into the same source.
Whoa.
Now, doesn't that explain some things?
Oh,
You're saying, how does it
totally.
know this, right?
Quite a bit.
Oh, totally. Then that just completely that
Confirms.
made AI, you know, unlimited
Yeah.
in its knowledge and where it's gaining the information.
Yeah. That's confirming me.
But of
or
course, they're
confirming
always-
to me.
I would love to hear Jesse's thoughts on
Yeah,
this.
Jesse. What do you think?
Jesse, are you out there, Jesse?
Have you been paying attention?
Yeah.
Are you in that wave,
Yeah, I'm
Jesse?
over here.
Hello.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Do you have anything to chime in about the wave of?
Or do you need a
Logic.
moment to let it sink in?
He needs his antenna to tune in. We'll defer.
Well, there are, of course, the people that, the say it ain't so people. And
Okay,
what
I
they're
see it's
saying is
plausible.
not everyone agrees. Some scientists argue that consciousness is just a byproduct of evolution, a clever trick to help organisms survive.
A clever trick. My face froze all funny on the screen. That was great.
It's going to be
All
a
right.
meme next week.
And I like this image. I've got another one I'm going to pop up here, guys. This one actually
I saw
hits
that in my
home.
peripheral, and it's been driving me crazy. Like, what is going on over there?
What we're finding is, in preparation for these podcasts, the amount of information that's available for AI is quantum leaps beyond any of the other podcasts that we do.
Right. Right.
You know, for the Roadster podcast, I have to struggle every 2 weeks to find enough relevant information
Sure.
and things that they've done over at GMC that, are reportable or noteworthy.
Right.
But with AI, oh my God, it's just every
The
few minutes there's
stream
something
of
new and different.
information
Yeah.
of what and who and how and where and yes.
I think that's great. That was fun. Cocaine. Trying to keep up with AI news. Seriously, you cannot sleep. Something
right.
happens every few seconds. It's hilarious.
So getting
Precisely.
back to AI here for a moment, I'm going to throw up an image.
Oh, this is
And
great.
we have, I wear many hats here. And sometimes I have to wear a hat that forces me to go out and fix a air compressor for building A, which is a large, 10 horsepower air compressor that's no longer functioning. So I was out there working and I found this contactor, which is the device that turns the motor on and off based on air pressure in the tank.
Okay.
So it's being fed by, in this case, 208 volts or 240 volts. But I looked at this thing and I knew it needed to be replaced, and I thought, how am I going to get the information, the specs that I need for this?
Right.
And it was a long shot. I said, well, let me feed this picture into artificial intelligence, and I fed it into ChatGPT. Now, let me show you the image that it came back with. And it was one of those moments
Amazing.
where I just kind of sat there with my jaw open for a good 15 seconds saying, how does it do this?
Right.
Watch what it came up with.
Yes,
This is amazing. Amazing.
Oh,
Look at that.
it restored it.
Yes.
Now we know the information on it. So we can get what we need.
And it's beautiful.
Wow.
It actually looked better than the
Right.
part that I finally was able to order based on this information, because the silk screen was much clearer on this. It wasn't all
Right.
fuzzy and, chipped or whatever. Even the screws look,
Now
like
I wanna
almost
put
perfection.
all my old family photos into AI and see what it does.
You know what?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good suggestion. I've been doing that, and what you end up with, if it's a scenery shot, it cleans things up. Like that shot that we did for the
Yeah.
Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah. Right.
It was a picture that was taken in the 80s.
Right.
Emulsion film, color shifted, faded, fuzzy,
Couldn't see that
grainy.
backside.
Yeah. What AI did with that image was cleaned up even the landscaping.
Yeah.
It looked beautiful suddenly.
Yeah, it looked beautiful.
What it doesn't do yet is faces accurately.
No.
Yeah.
And under a certain age group, it will not render. It will say, sorry, this
Right.
violates our policy. And it looks like mid-20s or so. Anything younger than that, it will not. But
Who's
the
putting the
future,
policies in AI?
Probably the
I
government.
picture these gnomes. I don't know.
There's Christy Gnome.
Chrissy, no.
Department
No,
of
that
Homeland
is
Security.
really, really, really cool. That is really cool. Let's see. I subscribe
Go
to
ahead.
the channel for the automotive hobby, and now you're talking about my profession, tech. Great show. You're welcome.
And, I highly recommend that you get yourself a subscription to ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
learn. There's a little create button off to the right side there, and feed your intellectual property into that. If you have a knowledge base, if you have any kind of documentation, and what the fascinating thing about AI is, it doesn't care what format you give it. It could be hand scribbled notes.
Seriously.
It can be PDF files, Word document, CSV files, text files, any format that you like.
Yep.
Even
Amazing.
pictures, and it will
And
it will
it can
clean
read
it up. and
everybody's
it can
handwriting.
read it.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I can read my handwriting.
throw some
chicken scratch.
doctor's notes in there
Right?
and see what.
That's what I need to do. What does that result say? I don't know.
So I've got another image here, and this one is for the new Gruber Power Services GPT that we're developing. And the question up here, if you can read it, was, how do I troubleshoot a transfer failure on a 93 PM? This is a PowerWare UPS. And what it's doing here is giving a detailed description on how to handle that.
Okay.
Now, once, however, you get past this, I'm going to show you something else, and you're still stumped, you can then ask it, well, give me some images, give me some schematics, and how do you interpret, in this case, all of the logs, the event logs.
Oh, that's
and then
cool.
if you want more of the image, you can actually get something
The
like this.
diagram of it.
Now, the fascinating thing about this is we're learning how to use it, and there's a limitation to how much data you can put into your own personal GPT. It's 10 gigs, I think, is what Jesse uncovered this morning. 500 megs per file, 20 files, for example.
Okay.
But what it also does is it's linked to the outside web. So even though your information may not be sufficient, it will go out on the web and find things like this. It'll find anything that's available on the web. And of course,
Help
that
enhance
continues.
what it is that you're doing.
Totally, yes.
Do you know how
Wow.
amazing I have found AI for presentations? Like, just as a natural salesperson, when it comes down to presentation, because it matters so greatly when you're dealing with customers, presenting it to AI to clean up, it has been awesome. I have enjoyed it. It structures it better. It reads better. It acts as an audience. It acts as whatever your audience is, and then it tailors all of their like KPIs. Only so many people care about KPI in the company, or even performance data, right? So you can tailor it 100% to your customer and make a better presentation and really ramp up that elevating yourself in a professional sense.
Totally.
I had a
love it.
reflection of all those years that I was creating manually. I'm sure Claude knows this too. SOPs and things like that, where we'd be manually typing out the different steps that our techs would do on different jobs and things like that. And that's like, no, it's right there.
So long and
Instant.
necessary. Do you remember in the old emulsion film days when you would go to get your pictures at the drugstore, wherever you had them developed, right?
Right.
And you would get a little packet, and all of your pictures were in there. It was either 20 or 36
your
back in the day.
negatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did people do with the negatives typically? They probably tossed them.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was stupid.
'Cause
I always kept them.
we thought they were going to be useless, and
Yeah,
we
what's
got
the
to
point?
print
Yeah.
now. What's the
Oh, I
point?
kept them.
Well, I saved all mine. I don't know
Right.
why, but I have these shoe boxes full of
Me too.
negatives.
Good
and
job.
Years ago, I got a scanner, a negative scanner, and I began to digitize that and convert that into images on my computer. You can do that, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Oh, totally. Now your the color shift is solved because you've got the original,
Right.
master document,
Oh,
basically.
that's so great.
She's talking to her husband now.
I know.
But it gets better. You can do this with AI as well. You don't need the scanner anymore.
Sure, negative and AI will.
But it is so addicting because ever since
Right.
we got this capability about 2 months ago or so, in
Right.
the evenings, late into the evening, weekends, I'm over there taking
All your
the
negatives.
old negatives or the old pictures that I
Right.
digitized and just saying improve and widen, colorize, whatever it is, and it creates perfection. Now, again, though, like I said, humans, faces, it's still not quite there.
No.
Okay.
You can run your face through there. It kind of looks like a facsimile of you, but that's going to change. It's going to get better.
Right.
And eventually, these silly guardrails, with kids, for example. Well, maybe there's a validation process, and you sign up and you say, these are my images. I have proof, and now they let you do what you want with that, and you get your
Right.
kids' pictures done as well.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yep.
That would be nice.
So
I would like AI to start scanning the dark web and solve some cases.
You know, it could
Yeah.
probably take those pictures and put a story together for you.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it does that too, by the way.
Oh
my gosh.
That's what happened with that
Yes.
with that van sitting outside the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
It actually went out on a limb and said, "Oh, this looks like a van from the '80s, a Chevy blah blah blah, sitting in
Right.
front of a customer's site called Make-A-Wish, which is a foundation that does things
It
for
could probably
children
put it
for
like
their
a
last
book
wish."
together for you of your family history.
Oh my gosh.
Genealogy. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
take from when the kids were born to when they
Oh, my
became
God.
adults, and then you have a book.
Janie, facial recognition.
Ah.
You put those faces in, and it goes out on the web, and it looks for any occurrence of that
Yes.
face, and it ties it to your
Even
story.
those social media events that you feed into the Facebook.
I think we got Erica excited. The wheels are turning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so my
Yes.
family had a fire when I was young, and a lot of pictures got
Yeah.
ruined, and you can't really see like the landscaping and the film from
Right.
Polaroids. It was kind of distorted. I'd love to see this.
Yes.
It will
love to see it
recreate
recreated.
some-
Restore all of
Yeah.
that.
I could recreate my dad. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be so
Oh.
cool. You're just
Yeah.
I'm so
All right,
excited.
we have another image here, and this is actually something that's happening locally here.
Oh yes. This
Yeah.
I chimed in about this.
For those of you that
Yes.
are familiar
Drone-like
with what they're
circus.
doing with drones these days, they're not just sending them over to Ukraine to drop bombs and stuff, but they're actually
Right.
creating visual spectacles with it and filling the sky with images. Because
Right.
each of these drones are AI driven. They have a place in the GPS world, a physical location.
Team
and
bonding?
and there are computers that are actually deciding where to place them, how to light them, and all that.
Right.
Well, one of these is coming to Phoenix, Arizona. Rawhide, that's just up here on
Yeah.
Scottsdale Road, isn't it?
No, they moved it actually to it's out by like
Central Phoenix.
Chandler now.
I thought it was Phoenix.
Out in the Gila River, I think, out there. It's it's actually now
Oh.
far on the other side of the valley. It used to be out here in North Scottsdale, Rawhide.
Oh.
So anyway, these dates are Friday, May 9th, just coming up.
Yeah, Wild
10th
Horse
and
Pass,
Sunday, yeah. at,
Gila River.
And doors open at 6:30. It's got to be dark to do this, I guess.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yes, I think one of us should go.
That's why I was just saying we should do a team building
Yes.
exercise.
Yep.
And have social
drugs.
media there doing
Yes, I think we
Come on,
should,
guys.
and then we can
Bring your green
show
hat.
on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love
Let's do
that.
it.
Some video.
Well, folks, we're coming up on an hour.
Yeah.
We always have fun with these. We appreciate you joining us. I'm Pete Gruber.
I'm Erica Guthrie.
And I'm Janie Herndon Leon.
Till next time.